Cashier insults Elon Musk without knowing who he is. His reaction will leave you speechless. The grocery store was bustling with its usual mid-morning crowd. Shelves were stocked high with fresh produce, colorful packages, and daily essentials. Shoppers moved briskly, scanning aisles for deals and filling their carts with items. The air carried a faint mix of bakery aromas and the soft hum of fluorescent lights. Behind the counter stood Emma, the store's most outspoken cashier. Known for her quick comebacks and no-nonsense attitude, she had a reputation for speaking her mind. While her bluntness often entertained customers, some found her sharp tongue too much to handle. Emma was in her element, scanning items with practiced speed, occasionally tossing in a sarcastic remark to unsuspecting shoppers. In walked a man wearing a plain hoodie, jeans, and slightly scuffed sneakers. He blended seamlessly with the crowd, his demeanor calm and unassuming. No one gave him a second glance as he quietly navigated the aisles, selecting a few items with care. When he approached Emma's counter, she glanced at him briefly, her eyes quickly assessing his casual appearance. Little did Emma, or anyone else in the store, know that the man standing before her was none other than Elon Musk, the billionaire entrepreneur who was about to teach a lesson she wouldn't forget. Elon approached the counter, placing a modest selection of items on the conveyor belt: a carton of eggs, a loaf of bread, and a few other basics. Emma barely glanced at him before starting to scan the items, her fingers moving rapidly across the register. As she scanned, she couldn't help but mutter under her breath, loud enough for Elon to hear, "Guessing someone's on a budget today?" Her tone was laced with sarcasm, and a smirk played on her lips. Elon, unfazed, offered a polite smile. "You could say that," he replied casually, his tone calm and nonchalant. Emma, emboldened by his lack of reaction, continued, "This isn't the clearance aisle, you know. Maybe try the thrift store down the street if you're pinching pennies," she quipped, rolling her eyes dramatically. The customers in the line behind Elon began to exchange uncomfortable glances, some whispering amongst themselves. One elderly woman frowned disapprovingly at Emma, but no one stepped in. Elon maintained his composure, replying with a touch of humor, "Thanks for the tip. I'll keep that in mind for next time." Emma, unimpressed, shrugged and said, "Sure, but make sure you can afford what you've got here first." She leaned forward slightly, gesturing toward the total displayed on the screen. The interaction had caught the attention of nearby staff and other shoppers, many of whom paused their own tasks to watch the exchange. Elon calmly pulled out his wallet and handed over a credit card without a word. Emma, still unaware of who she was dealing with, swiped the card and handed him the receipt with a smug smile. "Have a good day," she said, her tone dripping with insincerity. Elon simply nodded, leaving the counter without a fuss. But the story was far from over. As Elon moved to gather his items, Emma couldn't resist throwing one last remark his way. Loud enough for the entire line to hear, she muttered, "Must be tough pretending to belong in a place like this. Some people just don't know their limits." A ripple of murmurs spread through the line. Some customers looked visibly uncomfortable, while others stole glances at Elon, trying to gauge his reaction. Elon paused for a moment, looking at Emma with a calm expression. "I appreciate your concern," he said lightly, his tone still friendly, but with a hint of amusement. Emma smirked, interpreting his calmness as submission. "Just saying," she continued, now addressing the nearby customers as much as Elon. "We get all kinds here. Some folks forget this is a high-end grocery store, not a bargain bin." A young man in the line, clearly annoyed, spoke up. "That's a bit much, don't you think? He hasn't done anything to deserve that." Emma, not one to back down, retorted, "Oh, relax. I'm just being honest. We all know the type, acting all fancy but probably struggling to pay their bills." Elon, maintaining his poise, responded with a gentle smile. "Honesty is admirable," he said, But kindness doesn't cost anything either. His words, though spoken softly, carried weight, and a few customers nodded in agreement. The manager of the store, noticing the growing tension, approached the counter to see what was going on. Emma quickly shrugged it off, laughing nervously. "Nothing serious, just a little banter," she said, waving her hand dismissively. The manager looked at Elon, who was now silently packing his items. Sensing that he wasn't going to escalate the situation himself, the manager decided to let it slide and return to the back of the store. But the other customers weren't as forgiving. Whispers grew louder. "That's just rude. Why does she think she can talk to people like that? She's going to regret this." Emma, oblivious to the growing unease around her, continued smirking as if she'd won some unspoken battle. Elon, meanwhile, finished packing his bags and stood up straight, ready to leave. Just as he turned toward the door, a child's voice cut through the tension, loud and clear. "Mom, isn't that Elon Musk?" Emma froze, her smug expression vanishing in an instant. The entire store fell silent, and all eyes turned toward Elon. The realization was about to hit like a tidal wave. The child's innocent declaration echoed through the store, snapping everyone's attention to the man who had just been mocked. Elon Musk turned toward the little boy and offered a kind smile, his identity now undeniably revealed. Emma's face drained of color as she stood frozen behind the counter, her confident demeanor crumbling. Elon Musk," she stammered, her voice barely audible. Her eyes darted around, catching the astonished looks of the customers, some of whom were now pulling out their phones to record the moment. Elon, still calm and composed, addressed the child. "That's me," he said warmly, bending slightly to meet the boy's gaze. "Do you like rockets?" The boy nodded enthusiastically, his excitement breaking the tension in the room. The crowd began to murmur, their whispers growing louder. "It really is him! Can you believe what she just said to him? Wow, this is insane!" Emma, desperate to recover, blurted out, I didn't realize, I didn't know who you were." Her words tumbled out in a flustered rush. Elon held up a hand, silencing her mid-sentence, but not harshly. "It's okay," he said calmly, his voice steady and reassuring. "I understand. Sometimes we all have moments where we act without thinking." The tension eased slightly as Elon turned to the gathering crowd. "But it's important to remember," he continued, his tone carrying a quiet strength, "to treat everyone with respect, no matter who they are or what they look like. You never know what someone is going through or who they might be." His words hung in the air, resonating deeply with everyone in the store. A few customers nodded, and the young man from earlier muttered, "Well said." Emma looked down, shame written all over her face. The once confident cashier now seemed small and vulnerable. Elon, seeing her discomfort, chose not to prolong her embarrassment. He simply smiled again, picked up his bags, and turned toward the door. Before leaving, he paused and glanced back. "Kindness is free," he said softly, "and it makes the world a better place." With that, he walked out of the store, leaving behind a room full of stunned onlookers and an unforgettable lesson. Emma stood motionless, grappling with the gravity of what had just happened, while the murmurs of the customers turned into words of admiration for Elon's grace. The silence in the grocery store lingered long after Elon Musk had exited, leaving everyone to process what had just happened. Emma stood frozen, gripping the edge of the counter, her mind racing. She replayed the last few minutes over and over, cringing at her words and the judgment she had so freely dished out. The young boy who had first recognized Elon tugged at his mother's sleeve, excitement lighting up his face. "Mom, that was Elon Musk, the guy who makes rockets and electric cars," he exclaimed, loud enough for everyone to hear. The murmurs in the store began to swell as customers started connecting the dots. That was him? The SpaceX guy? One man said incredulously. Another woman, holding a bag of oranges, added, The Tesla CEO? He was just here? It didn't take long for phones to come out, fingers flying across screens as people shared the unbelievable story with friends and family. A few even snapped pictures of Elon's departing figure, his casual attire now unmistakably iconic. Social media posts began popping up, and within minutes, the store was abuzz with a new kind of energy. Emma, however, felt none of it. Her face burned with embarrassment as the reality of her actions hit her like a tidal wave. She had not only insulted one of the most influential people in the world, but she had done so loudly, publicly, and with an audience. The weight of her judgmental words now seemed unbearable. "I can't believe you talked to him like that," one customer finally said, shaking their head at Emma. "Do you even know who he is?" Emma looked up, her voice shaky. I didn't recognize him. He just looked so ordinary," she said, her tone defensive at first, but quickly softening into regret. The young man who had earlier defended Elon chimed in. "And that's exactly why you should treat everyone with respect, no matter who they are. You never know who you're talking to." The words stung, but Emma knew he was right. She muttered a weak, "I'm sorry," under her breath, though it was unclear who the apology was meant for. Meanwhile, the manager reappeared, clearly alerted by the commotion. "What's going on here?" he demanded, looking from Emma to the gathered crowd. When someone explained the situation, the manager's jaw dropped. "Elon Musk? Here? And this happened?" He turned to Emma, his expression a mix of shock and frustration. Before he could say more, another customer spoke up. "It's not about who he is, it's about how she treated him. It could have been anyone, and it still wouldn't have been okay." The manager nodded solemnly, addressing the entire store. "We apologize for what happened here today. This isn't the kind of service we stand for." As the crowd slowly dispersed, Emma stood in silence, her lesson clear but painfully learned. The story would soon become a viral sensation, not for Elon Musk's calm demeanor, but for the powerful reminder to treat everyone with dignity, because appearances can be deceiving. As the social media storm around the incident grew, the video of Elon Musk's calm yet impactful reaction began to spread like wildfire. Clips of him standing at the counter, addressing the store with his composed demeanor, garnered millions of views within hours. People couldn't stop talking about his humility and the way he handled the situation with grace. Meanwhile, back at Tesla's headquarters, Elon addressed the incident in his signature low-key style during a brief media interaction. When a reporter asked him about the event, he shrugged with a slight smile. "I think it was a misunderstanding," he said. "We all have moments when we judge others too quickly. It's just human nature. What matters is what we learn from those moments." His words resonated far beyond the grocery store. Online discussions erupted about how society tends to judge people by appearances. Elon's reaction became a symbol of composure, respect, and the importance of leading by example. People shared their own experiences of being judged unfairly and reflected on how they could do better in their daily interactions. At the grocery store, Emma had a sleepless night replaying the encounter in her mind. The next day, she approached the manager with a heavy heart. "I owe the entire team and our customers an apology," she said. The manager, though frustrated, recognized her sincerity. Determined to make amends, Emma recorded a heartfelt video message. Standing in front of the store, she spoke candidly. "I made a terrible mistake," she admitted. "I judged someone unfairly based on their appearance, and I let my own insecurities affect how I treated another person. That's not who I want to be." The video quickly circulated, and while some criticized her, many appreciated her accountability. "It takes courage to own up to your mistakes," one commenter wrote. Another said, "This is a reminder for all of us to be kinder." Elon, upon seeing the video, responded with a tweet that further softened the public's opinion of Emma. "We all make mistakes," he wrote. "Emma took the most important step. She acknowledged it and apologized. Let's be kind to her, too." This single tweet turned the narrative into one of forgiveness and growth. It wasn't about Emma's initial behavior anymore. It was about the lesson everyone could learn. The incident became a case study in humility, kindness, and the power of forgiveness. Emma decided to volunteer at a local community center, wanting to turn her lesson into action. She realized that treating others with respect, no matter their status or appearance, was a value she needed to live by every day. Elon's reaction, far from being an angry rebuke, became a turning point, not just for Emma, but for many who watched the story unfold. It reminded the world that true greatness lies in staying calm under pressure and using every moment as an opportunity to inspire change. The grocery store incident quickly became a viral sensation, with news outlets and social media platforms buzzing about Elon Musk's composed reaction. The hashtag #KindnessIsFree started trending, encouraging people to reflect on the importance of treating everyone with respect. Discussions about humility, judgment, and empathy flooded online spaces, turning what began as a tense confrontation into a global conversation. Emma, the cashier, found herself at the center of attention in ways she hadn't imagined. While initially overwhelmed by the backlash, she chose to focus on growth rather than retreating into self-pity. Her public apology video gained widespread attention, and many commended her for owning up to her mistakes. "We all mess up," one comment read, "but learning from it is what matters." The grocery store management, too, took the opportunity to make changes. They introduced a new customer service training program for all staff, emphasizing empathy and respect in every interaction. "This incident has been a wake-up call for all of us," the manager admitted in an interview. As for Elon, the billionaire didn't let the incident disrupt his day-to-day life. True to his nature, he continued focusing on his work at Tesla and SpaceX. When asked about the event during a podcast, he said with a chuckle, "It's a funny reminder that blending in has its perks, and also that we all need to be kind, no matter what." The event's ripple effect extended beyond the store. Schools, workplaces, and even families used the story as a teaching moment, discussing the value of humility and why judging others based on appearances is never the right approach. In the end, what could have been a bitter moment became a powerful reminder for the world. Everyone deserves respect, and kindness has the power to transform even the most difficult situations into opportunities for growth.